The varsity high can't come in on
He
me.
doesn't care when you're leaving that part.
Varsity high, I never reach it. You don't.
Okay, you're live. You're live.
Some of them.
Okay, clock on the wall says it's time to begin this meeting. I'll call it to order. Next item would be approval of agenda. Have we all had a chance to look at the agenda for this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve this agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Ralph. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tom. Those in favor, please signify. Aye. Those opposed, likewise. Okay, public comments. This would be
Minutes.
anybody in our...
Minutes.
Pardon?
Your next
Approval of the minutes.
Approval of minutes is done.
Correction, sorry. Approval of minutes. I'm jumping lines here.
Dock is paid.
I had a chance to look at those minutes from our June meeting.
I'll abstain, I was absent.
Okay, Tom will abstain on those.
I will abstain also.
Okay. I will abstain.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes from our June meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second.
Gary, who made the motion?
What?
Who made the motion?
Ralph.
Gary.
Ralph. Okay.
Who made the second? Did
I did.
Okay, those in favor, please signify. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, now we're ready for number 4 item here. Public comments. Anybody in the audience that has a comment, question?
Come on.
Okay, I don't see any at this point. Approval of the financial statement.
So a couple highlights on that. I gave you guys an extra, the one loose piece. That's the year-over-year comparison.
Okay,
So I'll start with that. A couple line items there. Insurance is down significantly. That's the United Healthcare. It went from like 8,000 a month last year down to 4 to 5 this year. With the different employees that rolled off. So that's a big savings. You'll see
Never
that in
happens.
actual as well. The other big line item is the 5398. That's the Branchville site corrections that we've been doing out there, site work. And then the 66,000 all the way down to the bottom is the stipends. So those are some of the anomalies as compared to last year.
okay.
Same thing on the budget actuals. The payroll expenses down at the bottom of the stipend that we did earlier in the year, the bonuses. Outside of that, the insurance is a big variance.
Anybody have a question for Wes about the budget?
I've got a question, Wes. Can I get these earlier than just right before the meeting?
Yeah.
Because I really like to go through them, and I hate to, so I have something to compare it to, too. If you can email them to me, I'm assuming this is what, at the end of June?
June's, yeah.
So, the earlier the better, it gives me a chance to
As
ask.
soon as we get the bills in, sometimes those come in late.
I got it.
So as soon as we get those in, we can email those out.
I'd really appreciate it. It gives me a chance to look through them. Then I might have some questions for you.
I'll bring them right before the meeting then. I'll email them right before the meeting.
What's anticipation of the insurance on that 91,000? You anticipate that going up?
For the rest of this year?
Yeah.
No, I think we'll exceed it, or we'll beat budget by a significant amount this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions concerning the budget coming?
On the bills too, there was a 3 payroll month, so you'll see expenses are a lot higher on the approvals on that last page. It was a 3 payroll month, so that's why.
Okay. That always makes a difference, 3 payments versus
Big
2.
difference, yeah.
Biggie. Okay, we ready for a possible motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And Mayor Ralph has a motion here. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second set. All those in favor of the approving the motion? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Likewise. Okay. Next item here, we have advisory board.
Gary, there is one thing. I'm reaching out to some of the other districts to see if they have rules and regulations for their advisory board to help us out.
Okay. Do we not have any of that on file?
We don't, you just have to come in.
The only thing we ever had was a state statute. I never did see
There's
anything.
somewhat of an outline that gives you that, but, there's sometimes don't even have an advisory board, so.
Okay.
Big issues on that.
Be good to know what,
I'll pick up a copy of what she has, and then whatever they send me, we'll take a look at.
be a good idea, certainly. Okay, Chris? Director's report.
Excuse me, Gary, for a moment. I've got a couple questions. I wasn't here at the last meeting, and I see the advisory board. What's the makeup? How many people are going to be on that?
I don't think there's a specific number, Randy, that's required on it.
No, I think it
No
could be
more
up
than
to 6
7.
or 7 by
No more than
state
7.
statute.
They like to have 5, no more than 7.
Okay, so.
I have a second person that's coming on, and that's in the new,
Okay, we have that there, yeah.
Okay, and then according to the law, it says here, the committee must include the following: representatives of the solid waste management industry operating within the district.
yes.
How are you going to fulfill that one? I mean, who's?
Well, it's usually just been the director that's done that. The director sits in on the meetings.
So the director, rather than like waste management or Republic Services or somebody like that, would be,
I can only speak of the way it's been.
Yeah.
And the way it's
see, I
been
know
handled.
because it has specifics, not only is it shall, but I read through that and I have that where they have
Mm-hmm.
certain requirements to fill these jobs, and I've just.
They want
'cause we're-
people from different backgrounds, and that
Well,
is,
and tied into actually recycling and that. I
absolutely,
think
they
it
want
gives them a
people from
lot
different
more-
backgrounds, yes.
More, and that's what the state statute says. I'm
Yes.
just curious how we're gonna. so
You
we-
reach out to people in that field, and I have been reaching out to people in that field. A lot of people won't do it.
That's what
The
I.
young lady that is going to, is Paddle Perry, and she is very, very, very into recycling and does that. So far, anyone else I've pretty much asked has said no.
Mhm.
So there's so many ways we can go with that. I can't continue for another 6 months asking for people to come. We have to continue on. There are also counties in the state that do not have an advisory board. So going by having an advisory board, doing our best to fill everyone in that position is the best we can do at this
Yeah.
time.
See, that's kind of the question. In a small county,
Mhm.
it's challenging. You know,
Yeah.
especially when they have requirements on people to serve on that. And I'm thinking, it's not like Marion County.
Right,
A lot more-
which actually doesn't have recycling.
Okay.
Count-
It's the only county in Indiana that does not have recycling,
Is
is Marion
Marion
County. Yes.
I think the only thing that would be very imperative for us is we need people on the advisory committee who are certainly pro-environment. We have many people in our county
Well, I
who
think
possibly aren't pro-environment.
I'm
We
just
need
thinking-
somebody who feels like this is a important agency, it performs a good service, and it contributes to the quality of life within our county.
I'm just curious to how that part of the statute's going to be met, and I know it's a challenge.
Continue working on it.
Okay,
Hi.
go ahead, Chris.
Okay, well, let's see, our commodities and plastic has went down a little bit, so what we did was got everything out of here that we could get. And,
Sent out public.
yes, and actually, we got a pretty good amount of money. I'm sorry. We had our last shipment in July, and yeah, it's down to 130 a ton versus the 144,
Was it
155.
cardboard, plastic, or what was 130?
That is the metal, and then
The
the
metal.
cardboard is down also. But we got over $6,800 in July for what we had sent off. So our cardboard is going up every month, which is great. Plastic, we got over 6,800. So we are way ahead of where we were last year. Last year, we were at 29, we're at 56,000.
You say cardboard, you mean the volume or the price?
The volumes went up. Our price hasn't really changed that much. Plastic is the one that they let me know was really going to be going down for a while. They don't know how low, but for a couple months, plastic will continue to go down. Cardboard's pretty much the same, so that's why, I mean, we got 44.21 tons in July.
How's that compared to last year? Is that better?
You know, I don't have that, what we got last year
Okay.
at this month, but I just know that, you know, money-wise, financially, we are about, let's see, 20,000 ahead.
Good.
So, you know, you hope it continues that way. There's no way to tell for sure, but it seems to be. So we're in a good spot there. And
Do you have an idea where the, I'm just curious.
No, you're fine.
If you have an idea where the cardboard increase coming from, public or,
I think it's been public, because I've been looking around town, you know, around Tulsa when I drive, and there's a lot more, but also Cannleton has been, I'm sorry, Branchville's been increased their cardboard. And it's
So
people, it's
bring not
not businesses.
not businesses.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people, you know, they're getting their Amazon boxes. And those come in boxes, they're recycling them. You know, that northern part of our county is so important to us because that brings in a good chunk of our money.
Tell you, we have this recycling for cardboard trailer down the street department. 24 hours, go down there on Saturday, Sunday, and it's getting filled a lot. It's, Pat tells me it's
Yeah, and
been
we've
very
talked about
successful.
putting a second, another one down. We don't have it to
Yeah.
put down there, but yeah, but just,
Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's because.
People
of the
bring
card-
it to us that don't
Mhm.
have a place to store it until it gets picked up, or they just don't want it around, or they have
Yeah.
an excess of it, you know.
Right.
Different combinations. But it's
And
been
on
really good.
Saturday, you know, you see people down there and they have a little bit of everything. They have everything
Yeah.
put together right and,
We'd love to get plastic. I know we gotta get some trailer, but I like detergent bottles, milk, you know, those would be,
Yeah.
those take up a lot of volume in trash.
I'm excited to see what happens during Schweitzer Fest, what the volume is. Maybe that's an odd thing, but, you know, I
Well,
think,
Yeah,
you know, it'll be good for us.
If you want glass bottles, I can get you those.
well, we'll take them.
Mostly
Take it
clear.
Okay. Well, call me.
It's wine bottles. So, I guess I should be specific. It's not me drinking them either, it's the wine bottle.
They were for arts and crafts,
Well,
right?
that way too. No, it's not me
Okay.
drinking them, it's everybody else.
Other than that, gentlemen, I really don't have anything else. We're just going on, you know, working every day. I do want to mention, though, our belt is becoming more of an issue, the belt at Hamilton. We are in need of that. I've been researching, looking for some where we've already purchased one a couple of years ago, and the price, you know, we're at a couple thousand. One place quoted over 10,000, which is a no. So we have to be aware that that is going to be something we have to have. That belt is an issue.
Is that the belt for the, obviously conveyor,
Yes.
but that goes into the,
That they
hopper?
bail with, that
That
comes
bail,
up,
okay.
that's slanted about 45 degrees,
You
yes.
said it was about 10,000?
One place quoted that, the other one was around, I think, 3. And so we're getting lost. It's an older model.
Huge difference.
Right, and not around a lot. It's hard to find the belt for that machine.
And
So,
we'd also talked about the person we buy it from having them install it,
yes,
so it would be installed according to federal, or not federal, but
Yeah.
company.
yeah. We have people
Protocol.
that work down there. I don't want anybody in danger because something wasn't put
No,
on
we want-
correctly.
we want it put on
It's
correctly.
not something I'm going to sit well
You know,
with.
Chris, that may be something I don't know if ARP funds could be used for.
We kind of talked,
might
I don't,
research that.
and that is one of the things to look at, because I did find out that there's grants and loans that will do equipment, or grants, I should say, that they just do equipment, and it's a 75-25. It's no longer 50-50, where we have to pay back. We're down to 25%. So that's something else I want to look into. My concern is that the machine is also an issue. Do we just go with the belt, or do we go ahead with the machine and belt? I want to look at that and compare it and see. So, I mean, that's in all honesty, because,
You don't want to put good money after bad.
absolutely. And if I'm going to come and ask for money to do that, I don't want it to be then 2 years later, the machine is
Sure.
more of an issue. So, and with Quincy, who we sell a lot of our stuff to, they do have payment arrangements and plans, and I have found out that a lot of districts have used that to get new equipment. What happens is, instead of us sending us a check for our plastic at $3,000, that goes towards the payment. And we've done, you know, other people have done that. So
Sure.
it's something to look at,
Mhm.
but we're talking quite a bit of money. So
Right.
ARP would also be a good,
For replacement of the machine or
for
the belt, either way.
to do a
what would you
machine,
say?
either way, yeah.
I don't know if that's a qualified expense.
I don't either.
But I'm sure Baker Tilly could confirm yes or no.
Okay. And I wanted to let you know, Kelly Hess also, I mentioned she is now on the advisory board. She's very excited and eager, and she's one person in Perry County that picks up garbage every time she gets in the water. She cleans up, has a bag for her garbage, so.
Good.
Yes, and other than that, and under new business, I'm sorry, I just, the budget committee, when we met, that's some of what we're talking about. We're trying to get that in line. We have one more meeting, and we go through, make sure everything's okay with Wes. And so next month, we should have our budget done.
You said it right to start with, it was the budget meeting.
Did I say budget? Budget.
You guys just bitch all the time.
So, okay, thank you.
Any questions? Laura?
Did we, on the new business, did we approve Hannah's?
You'll have to vote for that.
Okay. I didn't know if it fell under yours.
I was going to mention it, and then I realized you had to vote.
Oh, okay.
I will make a motion that we approve Hannah Skleeman's bond. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Those in favor, please signify. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Likewise. Okay. Welcome aboard, Hannah. Okay, Randy wished to be on the agenda this evening, so Randy, go ahead.
I'm already down at the end.
What about item B? Do we want to talk about the 2023 Budget Committee update?
I
Is
think
that
she
just-
already did.
We did.
Okay, I didn't know there's any more to go over it, so.
I don't think
that's
so.
it.
I mean, if there's something.
Next week, we're going to hopefully have a finalized.
Okay, I didn't know, I don't.
When you get that, can that be sent out to all of us
Yes.
ahead of the meeting?
Yes, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just trying to slow you down. You sit while you leaving me?
Going around the front so everybody can
Go
hear.
in the front. Wow, you still want to sit next to me.
See what the view is up here and see what lights.
It's better view.
It's better from out there.
You just want.
The lighting's better out there.
Turn it back on the audience.
Not really. Okay, I'm just going to go through how I went through this whole, just for discussion purposes. Missed the last one because I was out with the COVID, but this is a heritage invoice, and I'm sure you've all seen this. And I looked through this thing, and a couple things came up, and I didn't check them all out. One of them was latex paint, 3,000 pounds, cost us $2,500 plus freight. And then we also had some aerosol cans that were costing us $8.54 a pound to dispose of, plus shipping them back. And the shipping cost is a little over $2,000 if I remember. So I started looking at that, and I thought, okay, I want to look up how you recycle latex paint. So I looked it up. The simple way is pry the lid off of it if it's quarter can or less. Put shredded paper in there, put mulch in there, put kitty litter in there. Open it, do anything just to solidify it. Then it becomes standard waste. So I'm thinking, well, if we would have pried the lids off of it, then we could have kept us from spending this money. Then I thought, okay, people are just bringing their waste up and dumping it on the recycling. And I'm thinking if we could get people to participate at home that has one can that could just pry the lid off of it, then that would be a part of an item that we wouldn't have to pay to dispose of. Metal cans, we're probably paying more than the actual can of paint costs to recycle it after the fact with a partial one. Similar, if they spray it out, pop a hole in it, it's a piece of metal that can be recycled. So I looked at how other recycling communities are handling it. I looked at Hendricks County in Indiana, much bigger county, but what their approach is they've got a whole list of things and how you recycle them. Then they have a whole bunch of participating private companies. You've got people, Walmart takes their bags back. We have other people that takes their bags back. We have people that accept the oil, the batteries, the metal, the cardboard. Best Buy takes the electronics, but they have lists and lists and lists of people that will take these recyclables back. And I thought that's another approach where you're asking the community to step up instead of taking all your refuge and throwing it back to the county and the recycling group in order to deal with it. You're saying you're getting them to be active, and in some cases, if it's a battery at an auto store, they're going to give you money for it. So I thought that might be something we might want to take a look at rather than how we currently operate this. Then it took me to the next step, and I'm thinking, I have heard positives and negatives. I've heard some people say we need to keep the district going. I've heard others we don't need to keep the district going. I don't know where we are on that. So the next thing I thought is, we've got an election coming up here. Could we not set up, and I checked whether we could put it on the ballot. It's against any law to put it on the ballot, but we could set up a box or another machine or something and just allow the voters to tell us what they would like, yay or nay, because I really don't have a feel for where we are, whether there's an overwhelming support or against it or whatever it is, and answer the question, because we're basically here as public servants. We're not here, our decisions are only our decisions, and we're trying to make what the public actually wants. So what I would like to see us do is, if we had just nothing else, a wood box at each polling location where you can drop a paper ballot in to say you like it, you don't like it. It would be non-binding, but it would give us an idea whether 3 or 3,000 like it, or 3 or 3,000 don't like it, to kind of guide us, because I, for one, don't know. I don't know that the loudest voices are carrying the day, and it's not really what the people want or not. And I just give the public an opportunity to tell us what they want, and kind of
Well,
guide
a couple
us.
of points there, Randy. You know, I've been around on this earth for a few years, and I've always found it's much easier to get people against something than it is for something. And if I think about when I moved to this community back in 1979, we had open burning at that point. People had barrels, and those smoked throughout the day and all that. There's probably people who really don't care maybe too much about the air quality. But if you have a son or a grandson or a child with asthma, they're very concerned about air quality. Secondly, we are here in the Ohio River Valley, which traditionally has been maybe a chimney for coal-fired power plants, where that smoke comes right over our valley here. So we get air from that as far as that goes. I think many people are definitely in favor of a cleaner air, cleaner water.
Oh, I don't think
And,
anybody wants a nasty environment. And
well,
to
I know
take,
you're saying that if they're opposed to the way we're doing it here on this.
well,
in our
I'm just saying,
program.
it's not mandatory. I'm just saying, where's the public response? And in the case of your smoking barrels, if I was burning in my backyard and I had 4 or 5 or 6 neighbors around me that had to smell it, I think I know where they'd vote. So I think the outcome would come back and say, well, I don't think the open burning is really going to work, because the people and I don't think there's anybody in our community would want us to go back to open burning. And the trash on the roads, we still have trash on the roads, and I think that's an item that needs to be addressed by the police force. And there's ways that we can stop that relatively efficiently. We have to get the law enforcement on board in order to do it, and the community, so we can identify when it was actually thrown out. But we can determine who that is, and if the county and the city will both put teeth into the fining, we can stop the trash on the roads, or make it very unprofitable.
Well, it's for any community, any police department or whatever else, when we make rules, then the key thing is who's going to enforce the rule.
Exactly.
So if we have various rules we come up with on recycling or whatever, and we're expecting individuals to do that, who's going to enforce that? Are they going to do that free of charge, or are they expected to be paid for that?
Well, I think it's basically asking the public, in the case if you're going to ask them to recycle their latex paint, you're trying to make them a participant and a responsible person within your community, instead of coming out here and saying, well, we'll just take anything that you got in the backyard that you want to dispose, throw on us, and we'll handle it in some fashion. And what it does, it puts a burden back onto the county to have to get rid of. That's why you're spending $3,000 to get rid of latex paint. Could have been opened up and dried up. Simply, if we had, 17, 18, 19,000, depending on whether you're counting the prisoners, responsible citizens to pry the lid off, dry it out, we just avoided that. So in order to try to get those to participate, and if we can get the general public to, I'm not saying we won't have any recycling opportunities, but get the general public to step up, and offer those services. And there's, some of the things that's probably losers, nobody's going to want to take, but there'll be plenty of offers for other people that will want to recycle, and whether it's scrap metal, whether it's aluminum or whatever. But the question becomes is whether we want to allow the public to express their opinion of where they want the district to go,
Mr. Cole, can I interject for a moment?
Sure.
The
I'm
paint-
just.
It's okay. The paint at that amount is because it had been sitting. Part of that should have been gone before. So when you see that, you have to realize that's probably twice this length of time. Also, when they call the office and when they go to the sites, we tell them to put kitty litter or let it dry out and do that.
Mhm.
These are the people that don't want to do that, that bring it, because you have a room for them, we have it sectioned out for those things to go to. You have people that are not going to put anything in the paint to dry up. We are here as an option, but we tell everyone, do that. We have done that too.
And
So-
see, when I looked at it, like Hendricks County, they have a procedure that you can click on all these items, and it tells you what to do with it.
Right.
So, you know, I have to, I don't know that we sufficiently educate the people before they get there to take care of some of this. Now, I would hope that if we did, they'd pry the lid off their paint. You know, because at the same time, if they come in and they complain, I don't like paying the fees. Well, you're directly in control of the fees when you take an action like that and choose to disregard a simple act of taking the lid off of your can of paint. So you're a participant in the cost structure for the district to have to handle those
And then people feel
paints.
that way, they feel like I paid my fee, why should I go through that trouble? I pay my fee, that's something you offer.
Right.
It's not that you don't want to do that, you want to be an option for people. We have to have an option for people in the community to come. In Northern Perry County, what works best out there might not work best in Hamilton. You have people out there that go, they have, once a week, they're there. I've seen them, that have everything sorted, and they use everything out there. They have their solid waste that's down to hardly anything. They don't want to pay for a dumpster. Those people are in our community. It's not just Tell City, it's not just Hamilton. We have the northern part of this county to consider. And you want to give them the option. We don't take beds very often out there anymore at Branchville because they said there's not somewhere for them. We have them take them to Hamilton because that's a better site for that. We try and offer everything at both sites, so there's not one that takes something that one doesn't.
Yeah, I understand that, and I understand, you know, providing to an underserved area. But what happens is we got to ask ourselves, then are we going to get involved with subsidizing whatever the next is? In other words, I want to live out on the river, 10 miles away from the nearest electrical service. So should I ask the patrons who use that service to pay for a line for me so that I can live out there? I think it's unjust to those people that are in that service to ask them to do that because I choose to live in a location. So that's why you get back and you say, okay, I have 10,000 voters. You give them the opportunity to choose what direction they'd like the district to go in. Now, I will guarantee you it will not be unanimous because some will say I like it, some will say I don't, depending on how it comes down. But I, for one, have no idea what that ratio would be and whether it's accepted, whether it's not, or what they're even thinking. And this is the only thing that I was proposing, to give the public an opportunity to actually express by a single vote what their opinion is.
Gentlemen, we have a committee here. Anybody got a question or comment concerning Randy's theme here or his comments?
Current concern I have about your paint issue. The paint issue is up to the individual whether they want to open the can at their house or their home or their garage and let it dry out. Is that what you're saying?
You've got it. You can put kitty litter in it. You can open it up and dry it out or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, anything that dries
On
it.
their own property.
Yes.
You're getting ready to open up a can of worms they'll open it up and then just kick it over. Now you're going to create a ground environment into the river. Or they're going to set it outside because they don't have a garage, and it's going to fill up with water with 5 inches of rain, and it's going to overflow, and it's going to get in the environment. So we're creating another issue that, in my mind, that not everybody's going to comply. It's about like the burning on a barrel. They're going to burn if they got an opportunity. Or they're going to open it up and let it just spill out into the ground.
So, Ralph, do you think that same person is going to put the effort into it to take it to the recycling center?
Maybe if they didn't have these options.
Yeah, see, and what happens is, we had the same discussion one at a time. It's like the oil. If there's not an opportunity to recycle it, does that mean they're going to go pour it out here in the creek? I hope,
Some people might.
some might, but I
Because
hope,
they're dumping it out on the roads.
yeah, I hope the majority of the residents of our county are responsible enough to not take that type of steps. I have faith in them, but maybe maybe I'm.
You can look at the violations that people get and know that that's the reality. People do.
I wouldn't set a can of paint outside my house and outside for this reason and open a lid for the reason that.
But would you stuff some shredded newspaper in it?
No, not necessarily.
You wouldn't do that
Because it
either.
might get kicked over by an animal and cause a mess.
But if you
All
put
right?
the newspaper in and dried it
And I
up,
wouldn't have it in my garage, excuse me. Wouldn't have it in my garage and I wouldn't have it in my house because some people don't have a garage, you know, to keep it inside to protect it while it's open. So my best judgment is to take it to where it can be taken care of with the lid on.
We also have
They
to-
promote, even the salespeople to the paints will promote keeping a lid on it. And we're telling them to open it up.
no, I think to keep the lid on it. There's also an option, a lot of them have it, donating it to a Habitat or something, mix it together and make great paint out of it. That's another
We have
option.
people that come down there and get paint and mix it together.
Right.
Also, we have people that come and do that.
Yeah.
That's-
There's other alternatives.
Well, let's talk about
If I can,
painting.
We've
Go
talked
ahead,
about
Russ.
education multiple times
Yes.
in this committee. I mean, I've been 5 years back now. So I think that's an interesting point. And if the only education they're getting is from a phone call, we're missing the vast majority of people. So the education piece, and if they do have a garage then, Mary Terry, then maybe they could open it up and sit it in their garage and defend it from the animals.
No,
and
I
things like
wouldn't want it
that.
on my garage either because I wouldn't want to
You
spill it
may
in my
not, but
garage,
somebody,
kick it
like
myself.
I wouldn't care to put it in my garage if I shoved some paper into it.
Yeah.
So if we educate people, I think that's part of his point as well, is educating the public
Yes.
on how to best bring it to us to help be cost efficient. That's something we brought up before that I've never seen it in the budget, and I don't know that we've ever done, we've talked about it, but I don't think we've ever pursued that
We've
at
had
a time.
volunteers that do it. We have volunteers that are waiting now when we can get back in the classroom. We used to go into the classroom and then COVID came. I still have 2 people that would do that. They used to do it, are willing to go to school. I'm willing to be there to do it.
Well, education at the school is fine, but also it's like the other counties, they have it online.
Well, yes.
If I want to call up and say, I've got a battery here, how do I dispose of it, what do I do with it? Then you provide these alternatives on what you can and cannot do with it legally to dispose of it properly. It's just a resource, and I don't know that we'd have to even create the wheel on that, just copy one, because a lot of the districts out there already perform the
We
same thing.
have some on our information that needs to be updated. We thought we were going to be able to get a better website going. I don't see that happening, so we have to move forward with what we have. If our information is not as up to date as it should be, and that's been, we've talked about that in the meetings,
Mhm.
to get the information more updated, absolutely. And you go to school, and you're out there. That's why you will probably see more people wearing Perry County sweep shirts, because a lot of people, I've had people don't even know about the
Right.
river sweep. It's about education, it's about being out. I wear my t-shirts a lot, you know, but you're never gonna hit 100% of it. And the thing is to have the goal of reach people to have it used and to defend it instead of continually having people knock down everything we're doing. Because everything that we try and do is with the intent of it being correct, of it being within the guidelines, of it being the best thing for the community. And when you have people that continually bash it and bring it down and want to dissolve it, there becomes a problem with trying to move forward correctly and with your full attention there versus having to defend everything you've been doing.
Do you know how many?
That gets to a point where it's.
I got a question
not
just a
doing
moment
good.
here. Wes, obviously, we're talking about a financial situation. What percent of it, what kind of cost, what percent of our budget is directly related to what Randy's concern is here?
Paint.
Well, I don't know on the paint side. I mean, if we.
I mean,
if
what are we
have to
talking
go
about?
through and look and see what.
A tenth of a
our main
percent
vendor is
or,
Heritage.
you know,
Is that part of tipping fees? Where's that normally go in at?
It goes, you
I mean,
know.
this is a huge budgetary item is my question.
Obviously, it isn't like it is with the oil.
Well, and it was only that big because it had been so long. It hadn't been picked up in several months. It should have had picked up last year. That's why.
Yeah, I don't want to get us just on one item.
Right.
Because there's a multitude of items that'll fall into that, and we can break them down, but that's really too detailed. I'm simply here wanting to know if that's the direction we might want to look at. If everyone's content with exactly the way we operate, exactly what we do, then I'll go sit back down. If you don't want to allow the public to, express their opinion,
I'll sit back down. I just thought this would provide an opportunity. She made mention of a lot of people bashing it, and I don't know whether that's 3 vocal people that do a lot of talking, or it's a lot of people, and that's what gets me to the point that I'm confused, and I'm here strictly as a representative of those people who live in this county. And
Well, I think many times to handle a situation like this, we need maybe a third party, an independent person who's not involved either on this committee or not necessarily a citizen in our community, to look at it from an independent standpoint. What are we doing? What can we do that's better than, how can we improve it?
But the question is the general public is who we're here for, the people that live in this county. And they should have the opportunity to express their opinion.
And I agree with that. The problem I see is if you don't put what the consequences are. Because if we do not have recycling, we'll have to have a landfill. And if, so on that sheet, maybe we should ask them where they want to put a landfill.
Well, I mean, I'm open for anything. I mean, I don't care.
These meetings are once a month right here in this facility. They're an open meeting. Anybody who's got a question or a complaint or an issue with this committee, we welcome them to come here. So we are attempting to prevent input. Look, you know, this committee is welcome for anybody with a new idea. What can we do that we can do better?
Well,
than we're
that's
doing
me. I
now?
got a new idea, and I was thinking, ask them what they want. That's just.
Well, Randy, I'll just say, your idea as far as educating and putting out other options rather than take it there, you know, you can take oil to O'Reilly's, I think, is one of them. Putting that out there, other options for people to take, it's not a bad idea. I mean, there's no cost in that. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to help us all, actually. So, I mean, I get that. I don't see an issue with, you have other options where people could take it to other than here. They can go, and they can choose they want to take it there because they pay it. Good for them. They want to take it to another store because they can take it there because it's closer. Good for them.
The main thing is getting the waste streams
I don't
handled
think
properly.
that's an issue, really. I don't think it would affect you all, would it? I think it would help us, actually. So I see where you're coming from on, you're trying to reduce the amount of paint we're getting by educating
Well, if
people.
you can reduce
That's
the
fine.
waste flow and have the public as a participant,
Yeah, in
okay?
that case, sure.
Then you can spend more resources on education. Now, they still have recycling districts up there in Hendricks County. Their main goals are more towards utilizing the refuge that's left over and how they can handle it and what they do with it, how they can educate people. It's not without a district. So it just changes the focus.
The cardboard
But
and
again,
plastic is a big thing, I
Yeah.
think, for, like, a lot of places, you just think, we're going to take a bunch of cardboard to it. And that's probably, cardboard and plastic is the majority of what you would get, and maybe, I
Right,
don't know
that's
what
our
your.
biggest,
And those are places you won't find it will take a lot of that. I mean, unfortunately, you know, across the United States, you know, some states do deposits for plastic, which is good and bad. You know, we don't have that here in Indiana, and I think Michigan and other ones do, but.
I know where Hendricks County is at. What's the population? Randy,
huge.
there?
It's a big county.
Yeah.
It's up
So
off
that-
Indianapolis.
Is that kind of comparing the apples to bananas?
No,
We're
I
a
could
county
go.
of 18,000, they're
Okay.
a county of what, 100,000?
Yeah.
Are we comparing uneven things to each other?
But you know, Gary, in perspective, like it's in ratio, I'm sitting there thinking, I keep hearing back and forth the education part of it. And I agree with that you do education, but maybe emphasize, you know, maybe there needs to be more emphasis on that. I don't think there's an argument that you could reduce our cost by reducing the amount of latex paint going into our recycle. That's indisputable.
Yeah.
Right, and if educating people with the things that Randy posed, if we did 1 gallon less, it's 1 gallon less
Right.
we have to deal with. So I think education is a huge part of it. And you're talking about burn barrels, you know, and education part of that. In '79, it was not against state statute for open burning. It is now. I mean, it's a state statute.
Right.
We can't, and I remember, you know, those days that everybody had a stinking trash barrel, and I'm glad we don't anymore.
Right.
But the education on what's offered, along with what the alternatives are, I think is a great idea, and maybe there needs to be something in the budget. If it's not in the budget, directly public education is not in the budget, maybe we maybe it should be consideration. Maybe it's too late this year for the budget.
I think a lot of the education is being played as we speak, because according to Chris, she's been trying to put it on websites, different websites.
We thought we'd be able to update our website. He said, I don't see that happening. They're
Basically letting people know the services, what they can do, because there's a lot of people not that way. And then I will add this, since I've been in office in 2020 up till today's date, everything that I see in our city and around Branchville that I've been out there and Derby, those areas is looking a lot better than what they were in the past. So
Chris,
we've been working at it.
Chris, do we have a Facebook page? I don't know if we do or don't, so. If we do, I didn't see it, and
We,
try to stay off
the
of
lady
mine.
before me sort of had one, and it wasn't, so trying to update and get that is probably where we're gonna go instead of the
Well-
new complete website.
It's free, and I was thinking as, we talk about money and not having it, you could post every so often, did you know you could take computer monitors here, or you can do this with paint, and if it gets shared on different social media sites, that's
Right.
a way to reach.
It may be simple as a sign there that says, where you drop the paint off. Hey, do you know that you can dispose of this yourself? You don't have to bring it here. It can be disposed of yourself. And maybe that's what they do in Hendricks County.
Well, that's what they
do
encourage
that.
people to do that, by having all these lists of things to do. Now, again, I don't know which way the public wants us to go. That's why I brought that up. Maybe they want us to follow the current path. Maybe they want us to do more education. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But I was just I thought this was an opportunity with a election coming up that people could actually share with us their opinions. But
Have you done
that's-
that past legal counsel?
Yes, I have. The clerk,
I'm really surprised you could just have a box.
what we can do is we cannot get it on the ballot. It's against Indiana law, because I've talked to them at the state. Rachel thought we could, and then I checked it out, no. But as far as just having, it's a non-binding, and no one's getting elected, no one's losing a job, no one's doing anything. It's a public opinion, which we can either choose to accept it or choose to reject it. Your choice. It's not binding, there's nothing to it. It's just giving the people an opportunity to express their opinion when they're in voting. And I'm not advocating either side. I'm just trying to say, I'd like to know. I'd like to know public sentiment, not just 2 or 3 people, one way or the other, that seem to have a louder voice than others. I just would like to know. And then I think that provides some guidance on the direction he'd like us to go
And you're
in.
gonna find out that way through just the people that vote. Not everyone votes.
Well, hopefully
And
that
you're
would bring
not
him
gonna
out.
get the full vote out of that is.
I would feel that if they don't vote, they probably don't care. I just
Right.
I think
So
voting's
that's- yeah,
critical.
that's why we're
And
here.
so,
That's a good point.
Unfortunately, we don't have big turnouts in elections here, During my election, we had the highest in the state, Tell City had a 42% turnout, and that's still sad.
And
The
you're-
highest in the state, Tell City, Indiana.
You are
Election
negative.
was in
Half, yeah.
And that's still less than half, that's sad.
and so 42% of the community cares to vote for mayor.
Well, Tell City.
But you can't come in, the other 40, or the other
I know.
58% think it's irrelevant, and if
Just-
they don't wish to express their opinion, they lost their opportunity, they lost their chance to vote.
Yeah,
So-
I just wish more people.
We can't sit
I
there
don't
and,
care what you vote for.
make them do it, it's their choice. So,
Got a comment, of course, public comments are over, but go ahead.
Interject something just very quickly. When solid waste came to pass in that, I believe Karen Stonewall was running the program at that time.
I believe so, yes.
We actually did a campaign, you're talking about education. We actually did a campaign, it was called Me and the Green Frog. And we actually wrote the campaign, and the people from solid waste would go into the schools and kind of explain that. So that may be a way for you to get the youth involved, in addition to educating a few parents along the way. But it was called Me and the Green Frog.
Well, I think the
Really-
COVID thing kind
Really
of,
cute idea, and it went over very well.
COVID kind of eliminated a lot of input going into classrooms. So we're coming out of that now, and I think that's a great idea, education, get kids involved with that.
They loved it. I mean, we did
Yeah,
coloring
yeah.
books, and we did, when you get done with this coloring book, what you gonna do with it?
Absolutely.
You wanna keep it, so, let's recycle
I see
it.
the value in that.
So,
Good point.
It's just food for thought. It's
Sure.
something that was done in the past, and how long, 1975 or something?
I'm not sure when
That is gonna have a stroke.
state
In the 80s.
kind of encouraged and produced, put some money into solid waste districts being formed. Anybody know, early 70s probably,
Before my time.
80s maybe?
Would've
Okay.
been in the 80s.
Yeah, but
Go
it's
ahead.
food for thought.
Okay.
First off, I think Randy's got a good idea. What would it hurt to have a box sitting there for people if they wanted to say yes or no, or didn't want to put their, it's not costing really that much. But my main point was, is if maybe Chris could reach out to Anna Island. I know they.
Reach out to what?
To the
Anjan.
computer, Anjan, whatever his name is. The company is Anna Island, I think, isn't it, Chris?
Tech company here.
Oh, right, okay. So,
You gotta say which Chris you're talking about. There's
Yes,
two of us.
sorry.
You're
I thought-
you're looking at
I
me, you're
wanted
saying
to
Chris,
talk-
I'm like, who am I
Chris,
calling?
I just wanted him, somebody to answer me. That way, maybe he can design something. He done Greenwood Cemetery for the city for a very reasonable price. I'm not, it wouldn't hurt to reach out to him. Maybe he'd want to design something for solid waste districts.
Well, and even at that, Keith, just find something out there in Indiana that's already been developed. Use it as a little bit.
Is it gonna cost a
Copy
lot?
it.
Terrible word.
Is it gonna cost a lot for him
Ain't that wrong?
to help her out and get the page set up? I'm not a computer whiz. It wouldn't do me any good to copy. I wouldn't know how to copy that.
But
We
they've
have
already
some,
done it.
Stuff out there on our pages, it's just getting it updated and stuff, and we were trying to look at getting something else going better, more updated, because it's very old.
Well, that's what I'm
So
saying,
that's what, that being done, yes.
he can spin through this stuff
Yeah.
as far as researching it maybe quicker. Maybe it would cost a lot, maybe it's a bad idea.
What was it through?
It's Anna Island there on 12th Street.
And Island, Anjan.
He's the guy that
If you need
does
his
all the
number, I can get it, or
computer service for
Teresa
the
could get it for
county.
you.
Or Feed the Giant also.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
he's
the other
working
one.
for someone else, but Feed the Giant was who I originally,
Right.
but now he's
I don't think
working
he's doing
somewhere.
much now, right now, though, I don't think.
But it's back on the board, so we'll go, back on my board, and we'll go back to looking at that, and I can talk to the guy in
And I'd
12.
work on your Facebook page in the meantime, because
Yeah.
like I said, that's something, it's very easy to do at zero cost. And, posting, this is another way to dispose of paint. Did you know? There you go. If it gets us,
Copy it from somewhere.
and
Okay,
if it gets
let's-
us 10 less gallons, and there you go. We saved $10. I don't know what we saved, but.
according to our agenda, it's time to schedule our next meeting, which would be the last Thursday in the month of August,
I
right?
guess you're not gonna make a motion or anything, movement on Randy's ballot box.
I don't think so at this point, okay?
Last Thursday of August.
Appreciate your comments, but I don't think there's consensus to do that at this point.
I don't remember here to take a vote.
Okay, next meeting next month, what date would that be, Ralph?
The 27th of,
25th,
25th.
5th of
I'm
August.
sorry, 25th, and I won't be here. I'll be out of town that day myself.
August 25th, is that workable for most people?
I'll make it work.
August 25th, Thursday, at 4 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, do we have an motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ralph. Those in favor, please signify. Aye, those opposed, likewise. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your comments.
Company last month's.